Chapter 139. Everything is ready. Hua blocks the way. Forces from all sides arrive. _2. He glanced at the woman in white on the second floor of the flying boat out of the corner of his eye and coughed. The deeper they traveled into the north, the taller and steeper the mountains along the way became. The trees were large and strong. Some ancient vines wrapping around the entire mountains, simply resembling a cold dragon. In some regions, covered by miasma all year round, ordinary birds flying into this mist would be poisoned and drop dead from the sky, their bodies shattered as they hit the ground. Within the mountainous ranges flowed several large rivers. In those rivers, too, inhabited powerful aquatic demon beasts. When Han Yi and the others were flying above one of the big rivers, suddenly a shaking roar erupted from the river. The river was shook to a stop. Many inner sect disciples sitting on the boat deck, including Han Yi, were left with ringing ears and a stormy tide of blood in their bodies due to that sound. Luckily their cultivation was strong, otherwise they would have certainly fainted. A mighty force surged, tearing apart the ground around the river, and the massive ancient trees along the mountain ridge were shattered into pieces by the sound wave. A black dot Hua burst forth from the river, its body over 60 meters long, its neck as thick as a water barrel, with a pair of meat wings on its back, its wide mouth full of sharp teeth, rushing towards Han Yi and the others in midair. Audacious demon, you're courting death. Elder Yu stood on top of the flying boat, her eyes cold. With a wave of her wide sleeves, her white robe expanded, forming a giant fabric of 100 meters in diameter, enveloping the flying boat and more than 10 disciples inside it. Boom! 2 beams of fire shot out of Hua's blood-red eyes and hit the surface of the white cloth, shaking it fiercely. Among the disciples, Liu Chengfeng saw the object below and said, in a deep voice, "It's a Dahui." It said that Hua turned into Jiao after 500 years, Jiao turned into dragons after 1,000 years, and dragons turn into horned dragons after 500 years. This Dahui is indeed a fierce exotic beast. Yu Linglong's eyes were filled with intense coldness as she raised the wooden rod in her hand and poured her magic power into it. The green inscriptions in the rod were activated. The originally 2-meter-long rod became over 56 meters long and was as thick as the mouth of a bull. Her graceful body emitting an extremely sharp power, each of her hairs floating up, her legs slightly bent, she shot out like an arrow, leaping over Hua's head and swinging her rod to strike its head. Clang! The seemingly ordinary wooden rod burst out with a sharp light like a shockingly brilliant sword. This Hua was split into 2. The massive body of the Hua fell straight down, the head hitting the big river below from a height of 300 meters, splashing up waves that were more than 10 meters high. The water turned red with blood. It was obvious that Elder Yu had killed Hua with her strike just now. Yu Linglong Elder hovered in the air and with a leap, landed back on the spirit boat again. All the disciples on the spirit boat looked at Elder Yu with astonished eyes. Ning Yujing's eyes slightly narrowed. She was thinking, this Hua, on the brink of turning into a Jiao, could be comparable to a nascent soul-strong man. But Elder Yu killed it with just one strike. It appeared she possessed remarkable skills. This Hua is strange. It doesn't seem to have attacked on its own initiative. I'm afraid there is a manipulation. Elder Yu withdrew her sword chi, transforming back into a graceful and noble woman. She told the more than 10 disciples sitting on the deck of the spirit boat, there are many incredibly powerful beasts living on the edge of the north dimension, some of which I will have to escape if I encounter. The deeper you enter towards the border wall, the stronger the beasts you encounter. If you guys ever go there for practice in the future, never venture too deep. For you, there are still many restricted areas in the central earth. The spirit boat continued to race, flying towards the secret realm. Half a day later, they finally arrived at a desolate area, a huge canyon, thousands of kilometers long and 200 meters wide, opened straight down under the earth, unfathomably deep, like a giant mouth of the earth that could swallow everything. Standing on the edge of the canyon looking down into the depths of the earth, it was pitch black, with only strands of steaming white smoke coming out from the earth. On the edge of the canyon, a narrow stone staircase was excavated, leading down to the depths of the earth, apparently a sealed cave mansion. It is said that this cave mansion is where the golden cicada true immortal resides. When Elder Yu led the Dragon Sparrow sect disciples to the canyon, armies of forces that came by flying ships, spirit boats, and swords, gathered densely, all waiting at the edge of the canyon. Whether they were from the cave heavens or blessed land, they were all present. It was very quiet with no one talking, waiting silently for the opening of the entrance. Once they would enter the secret realm, a competitive relation will be added among them. How could anyone reveal their secret here? Some sects came by riding spirit beasts. Several people were sitting on a large griffin. Compared to them, the 15 who came from the Dragon Sparrow sect were quite numerous. Han Yi gazed at the sky. The most eye-catching was a massive boat in the center, full of cultivators, each exuding strong aura. Not to be underestimated, there were probably over 100 people on this one boat. People of the Immortal Gate. A clear and ethereal voice came from the side. Chu Xianyu, who didn't know when she had appeared next to Han Yi, spoke softly.